Vero writes, if the web of the universe resembles a brain neuron, what if each multiverse is a cell in a much higher being? And straight away, we're questioning the very nature of reality, which is kind of what you guys do best. It's a really interesting point though. We know that the human brain is so often described as the most complex structure in the entire universe. And we also have various, although unconventional, theories which argue that either a universe can exist inside an atom from our point of view, or that this universe, our universe, exists inside an atom on some higher plane. Put all of those things together, and we can justifiably ask, what if that higher plane atom is part of a ridiculously complex brain belonging to some kind of supreme being? And there are various models that allow for a supreme being like this. The traditional Kardashev scale doesn't go quite so far, but some later variations of it move up as high as Type 7 and beyond. A Type 7 plus entity is generally seen as all-encompassing and all-powerful, a single being to account for all of life, the multiverse, and everything. If that's true, then everything we know might as well be the product of just one cell within its incredible brain. Do you think it's even aware of us? Or might the universe account for just one single inconsequential moment within its ultimate existence? It's enough to make you feel like, really, we're tiny. Next, Scrub Hunter 420 ponders, if there is a multiverse, one of the other versions of me believes in it. And if that one believes in it, then I have to not believe in it, so that the other version of me has a reason to believe. Again, way to go and make our brains melt. In a good way. One question this comment draws upon is whether it could ever be possible to communicate across the multiverse. Let's say for a second that the multiverse definitely is real. And that definitely means that other versions of you exist. Could you meet them or even influence them at all? It's something that scientists have considered before. Hugh Everett's 1957 theory, the many worlds interpretation, is really the cornerstone of most multiverse models. Generally speaking, it says that every time you make a decision, two timelines are produced. One where you choose one thing, one where you choose the other. So theoretically, if you choose not to believe in the multiverse, then that's fine, because another you does believe in it as a result of that. So even without meeting that other you, you're already communicating with them, because of the seemingly inconsequential choices you make, which is really Scrub Hunter 420's point. It all gets a little murky though when we consider things that aren't simply a yes or no answer. Things where there's a spectrum of choice available, and acceptance of the multiverse is really one of those things. While someone might be 100% yes that it exists, and someone else is 100% no it doesn't, another person might be 90% yes, or 75%, or 61.82%. The degree to which we believe in the multiverse, or believe in anything, changes from person to person, and even from day to day. There could still be a precise mirror image of you specifically out there, but if there is, then the multiverse truly would be infinite in nature. Which takes us to Aaron, who channels all of us when he says it's mind-boggling to even attempt to comprehend infinity. We hear you, Aaron, but we're going to take the opportunity to try and talk about it anyway. It's a concept that's been around since at least the ancient Greeks, relating to anything without an upper limit. Anything that's literally endless and more than any conceivable number. But the infinity symbol in mathematics wasn't introduced until the mid-17th century. And since then, this sideways 8, otherwise known as a lemniscate, has gained a certain mystique. Examples of things which are generally considered to be infinite are the value of pi, the number of numbers, and possibly the universe. But on the other hand, many mathematicians would argue that infinity doesn't actually exist, with some even proposing to rebuild math so that it doesn't include infinity. The main issue harks back to a classic playground line, where kids claim infinity plus 1. Because what then? And how could the infinity you've added 1 to ever have counted as infinity in the first place? In our original video, we mentioned the infinite monkey theorem, where a monkey with infinite time eventually writes Shakespeare's Hamlet. But another often cited idea is a quote usually attributed to Albert Einstein. Two things are infinite, the universe and human stupidity. And I'm not sure about the universe. Whether or not Einstein really said these exact words has long been debated, but the idea still rings true. Especially because nowadays, there are various models to suggest that the universe isn't infinite, which is one reason why multiverse theories have broken through. Next, two comments pitching similar ideas. The user I don't like you cut G says, "We be living in a simulation, aliens done kidnapped me." While RXBO771YT says, "The aliens graphics card is so good, they're running us in a simulation where every frame is a multiverse. Thank me later." Thanks RXBO. But actually, these weren't the only comments to merge the multiverse with ideas about simulation theory, another topic we often tackle on Unveiled. And there are certainly links to be made between the two concepts, particularly when we consider the hypothetical machine that might be capable of simulating all of this. In a previous video, we spoke about Matryoshka brains. These are computers so big that they require a star's worth of fuel to run, and one potential application of something like a Matryoshka brain is that it could be used to house digital consciousnesses in any number of digital worlds. As such, the question that usually follows talk of M-brains is, how do we know that we're not living inside of one right now? And the answer is, basically, we don't. There's no proof that we are, but then how on Earth, or indeed on any other planet, could we ever hope to gain the knowledge needed to prove it? How does one go about extracting evidence that every single aspect of our reality is custom generated by something else? Through the lens of some multiverse theories, though, the simulation is a structure that works. Now, everything in this life amounts to data. Data that's then owned by another power, our controller. We could definitely refer to that controller as an alien, but we're no longer talking about a species from another part of the universe. Instead, we're imagining an entity from another dimension. One in which this universe could be but a pixel on a screen in an office-like building filled with unknowable higher beings. Which brings us nicely around to our first topic today, and Simon Navarro's idea on brains, the multiverse, and higher power. But to round off, we'll finish with a comment from Ken Grand. Ken says, "I don't want to be immortal, but the curiosity in me wishes I can go to a place outside reality, like a silent observer, where I could witness where this world ultimately ends up in the future." Ken, if anything about the multiverse rings true, then here's hoping that humanity cracks it soon. Because then, we would at least know that there was something beyond this universe. Something more, and something bigger. And in theory, prove the multiverse, and one day we might be able to step outside of this world.